right, so moving over to Greater Western Sydney, best possible 23, starting with the back line, Jack Buckley, Sam Taylor, Lockie Whitfield, Lockie Ash, Connor Ardun, and Harry Perriman.
Yeah, it was pretty formidable to get, and there was a big reason why they made a preliminary final. Like Jack Buckley had that nice breakout year that you want to see from a player of his age coming through. Connor Iden, I think, was one of the more underrated players and just played well above his size as a lockdown and interceptor. Like Sam Taylor's probably the premier defender of the competition and showed why this year, despite the serious injury setback midway through the season, and then just like kind of the run and roll players they get out of their back seven with Lockie Ash, Lockie Whitfield, and Harry Perriman. Add in Harrison Himmelberg to that mix. Nick Haynes can kind of play down back. Callum Brown can play at either end. So they're not short on options as far as defenders, tall or small. And even some of those guys can push a bit up the field and run through midfield and just give them a lot of speed off halfback, which is what Adam Kingsley likes. So Whitfield I think had a pretty underrated season as well. Lockie Ash is kind of going from strength to strength, so there's plenty to be excited about. But after a top 4 season, it's a pretty locked in backline unit.
Yeah, definitely one of those teams where they just have everybody playing their role really well. So coming through this midfield, so Kieran Briggs as the main man in the ruck, Callan Ward, Stephen Cornelio, and then on the wings Isaac Cumming and Josh Kelly, and then Tom Green as that main guy in the middle as well.
Yeah, it's quite strong. Obviously, Kieran Briggs was a big catalyst in their rise back up the ladder. I don't think anyone could have seen the season he had coming, and has really just been able to give them some consistency in that ruck department after they've kind of had to toss and turn a little bit over the most of their time in the AFL, the Giants. So that's obviously great. Tom Green emerging as probably a top 10 midfielder, or should be next year, if not if it wasn't if he wasn't in 2023. Cleanliness, and Josh Kelly had a super year, and I think back to his best. Cal Ward, another one of those kind of cool heads in the middle. Whether he plays, mostly midfield, though, is going to be interesting to see. But someone like Stephen Cornelio, Finn Callahan rolling through the middle as well. You might get your Brent Daniels and your Toby Bedfords and Toby Greens kind of pushing up into the midfield group at times. But and Isaac Cumming, as you mentioned, we've got him on the wing. Probably could play halfback as well, and probably a more traditional role for him, but. You can swap him with Whitfield or Lockie Ash or Harry Perriman. Just gives them plenty of rotation throughout that back half of the field.
Yep, absolutely. And that forward line, so as you mentioned, Toby Bedford, and then Aaron Cadman, Brent Daniels, Jake Riccardi, Jesse Hogan, and Toby Green, of course.
Yeah, so obviously Green's their main man. Stellar season for him to be All-Australian captain, and he'll probably, for a player that doesn't, we can play midfield, but positioned mostly as a forward, it was absolutely fantastic to see the level of impact that he could have just about on every game he played in. Toby Bedford, such a bargain recruit for them from Melbourne, and has turned into be great pressure, but also just that pace and run and overlap that Adam Kingsley likes. Same with Brent Daniels. Like that pairing alone is pretty lethal. The talls are just like the interesting area for GWS. Like Hogan is another one they've kind of just turned out of a cheap addition into a pretty key player. Jake Riccardi as well is finally locked in as a best 23 player. And then we've got Aaron Cadman in at centre half forward. Just seems like I know he's only had 1 year in the system and they want to be patient with him, but I don't think they've got really an option. If they want 3 talls, it's probably those 3. Like Wade Dirkson's another one who hasn't played at AFL level yet. Harrison Himmelberg can play forward, but obviously they're pretty comfy with having him back. Do they use Nick Haynes or is it Lockie Keefe as that next tall? So, no, I think it probably could be Cadman as in that best 23 as the best forward behind Hogan as a tall target. So, they've got a little bit to work with there. Callum Brown's another one who can kind of run through there. Xavier Halloran's one we've got on the bench, that half forward midfield mix. So, I feel the same player, but they're the type of players that got them to the position they did this year under Adam Kingsley.
Yep. Yeah, definitely a strong side. I can see there's a lot of good competition for spots as well. So where do you see them finishing up?
It has to be
early crow.
Yeah, it's funny. Like if you're tipping where the Giants finish next year before the start of this season, you're probably still having them around that bottom 5 mark. They're just such a hard one to read, but you just think with what they did this year, you can't really have them outside the top 8.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a lot of clubs coming up, but they can't be one that's going down, you would think, out of that top 8 group. So I would probably wouldn't have them top 4 again, but top 8 in that next 4 lot, probably, from setting a ladder.
Yep, absolutely exciting team.